America's conservative voice is one of the only things standing in the way of a complete anti-Bible revolution in America. We will discuss the prophetic significance of censorship of Endtime Ministries on today's edition of End of the Age. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Robbins with Endtime Ministries. Thank you for joining me on this edition of End of the Age. We've talked many times about censorship in the United States, and you can feel it. If you just look in the news, you can see what is happening to a lot of conservative voices. I mean, the conservative messages of people you'll recognize: Dennis Prager, Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Diamond and Silk, even Rudy Giuliani, Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, even Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has been censored. And now they're wanting to censor, of course they've been doing this for a while, they want to censor President Trump even. And I mean, there's a whole host of others that have been censored either on college campuses or in publications or by one of the huge social media giants. There's censorship going on in the United States, and you can feel it if you follow this at all. I mean, Charisma News, they just reported that last Tuesday, Facebook announced that it had reduced PragerU's reach and put restrictions on its page for repeated sharing of false information. And these restrictions include a forced reduction in news feed distributions for PragerU and a demonetization of PragerU content. And the controversy started, now get this, you guys, it's so crazy at some point. The controversy started after Facebook censored a 1-minute video. You know, PragerU puts out these 4 or 5 minute videos. They censored a 1-minute video that was posted by Prager University Monday, and it was titled, "Remember This Starving Polar Bear." And in the video, PragerU challenges the misleading use of images of an emaciated polar bear by climate change activists, saying, hey, the polar bears are dying. Look at this bear. It's starving. It's out on this block of ice floating around out in the Pacific Ocean somewhere way up in the north. Well, they did a video on this saying that it was wrong. It had a wrong message. Well, the Prager University's video also points that the National Geographic photographer who filmed the bear admitted that her footage was misleading. And she said a year later, after the clip went viral, she said, well, perhaps we made a mistake in not telling the full story, that we were looking for a picture that foretold the future and that we didn't know what had happened to this particular bear. Well, so because of the video, Facebook's fact checkers labeled PragerU's video as false information and pointed to a review of the video by Climate Feedback as proof. And the Climate Feedback, a group which they have direct ties to climate change advocates, they accused PragerU of cherry-picking information to support its arguments in the 1-minute video, even though the National Geographic photographer admitted what she did was misleading. And so PragerU's CEO, Marissa Streit, she actually said, our video exposes the left's deception, and that alone is why we've been censored. And like I said, many conservative voices in America are being censored right now. And the thing is that the conservative voice, which Endtime Ministries falls in this, and I'll get to that in great detail in just a moment, they have so very little real estate, media real estate left. But yet the little bit that they do have in America which is really keeping us from going over the brink. I mean, the conservative voice is what's between us and going completely left in America. And besides, obviously, the God factor, you can't take that away, but God's using a conservative voice in America. There's so little real estate, but everybody that's controlling the rest of the media wants to censor them because they've got a leftist agenda. So we'll be talking today about the censorship of Endtime Ministries. We did this a while back when we launched Into the Age Plus, but I'm going to give you details. How is Endtime Ministry being censored? And it's just like all the rest of them. They've put us in the same basket as all the other conservative media out there, and they're really heavily censoring us right now. And of course, we've got some options for that, some solutions, but you know, I was really not fully aware until I really dove into this of the impact that the leftist philosophy has on censorship. It's a huge agenda that's being pushed in America right now. And it's like they've got control of the ideologies of these huge social media, the colleges, the traditional media, television and radio and Hollywood. I mean, it's just like controlled by the leftist ideology, and I'll be getting into that in great detail today on the program. You ever just sit back and wondered what in the world's going on here? The conservative media voice is shrinking. Well, there's a huge agenda behind that, and I'll get very detailed into that today because they tried to affect Endtime, but we're not going to let them.
I have left a piece of my heart in Israel and her people. We would like to thank Endtime for doing such an awesome job with our Israel tour. We marvel at your team keeping the time schedule, keeping everyone comfortable, the wonderful driver, the brilliant guide, the entire tour program, good hotel choices, and stellar food. We had the privilege to rub shoulders with Pastor Baxter, listen to his current teachings, and had some interesting questions answered so eloquently. He is wonderful. Helene from Australia.
Experience the Holy Land in the most amazing way. Join Irvin and Judy Baxter for our upcoming Israel tour. For more information, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
We've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Endtime Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. We will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now. Visit endtime.com.
We're going to get more off into censorship this afternoon, but I wanted to announce real quick a conference, a prophecy conference, that I will be at this coming Friday and Saturday. And it's normally a Saturday, Sunday morning where Irvin and I will go out and do prophecy conferences, but this one's going to be Friday night and Saturday night. It's in Jena, Louisiana. And that's Friday, May 29th from 7 to 9 p.m. I'll be teaching on Satan's end time plan revealed. We're way off into that. And then Saturday evening, May 30, 6 to 8 p.m. At the same church, and I'll be giving an updated Breaking Prophetic Fulfillments, and then I'll try to get done in time to have a Q&A session after that. And that's with Pastor Curtis Thornton in Jena, Louisiana. That's at the Shady Grove United Pentecostal Church, 1384 Highway 460. The church's phone number, 318-992-4761. So I know we were there a year or two ago, and we had people come from all over Louisiana to join us there. So come to Gina. We'll have a great prophecy conference this weekend. Looking forward to it. Got a lot of updated information to share with everybody. So the censorship of end time, let's get off detailed in that, because there's a huge agenda, not just end time, but the conservative voice in America. In 1983, there were about 50 companies that had control of about 90% of the media in America. But by 2018, according to a report by Jaron Brandon, the digital content manager for Opera Software, a total of about 5 companies and media conglomerates controlled most of the mainstream news stations in America. So if these media outlets were made up of unbiased institutions, everything would be fine, but they're not. At least the American public would have a fair and balanced viewpoint. The problem is according to Investors Business Daily, despite journalist denials, they say they're fair and balanced, but most of them are not. It's now pretty much a fact that journalism is one of the most left-wing of all professions, and the conservative voice is being pressured to shrink. And if you've ever wondered why the content of the majority of large newspapers, television, radio, news broadcasts, just about everything produced by Hollywood is driven by a leftist ideology, well, there's your answer. Is they've got that thinking in their mind, and everything that comes out has to have that spin on it. So with that much influence, it's really a miracle, everybody, from the Lord, that America has not fallen prey to the plethora of liberalist agendas, and quite frankly turned into an entirely socialist nation. I mean, along with God's influence in this country, it is the conservative talk shows and publications that are doing their best to speak the truth that keep America at least headed in the direction of the Judeo-Christian path that made it great. I mean, imagine taking all of the conservative voices off the air and no publications. It would be communist China. You've got to have somebody speaking the truth that will come against all of the leftist liberal ideologies in America that would seek to really completely revolutionize, not in a good way, America. So since conservative media sources have been left with such a small portion of this traditional broadcasting real estate to communicate their message, many of them, Endtime Ministries as well. Now, we're still on TV and radio and things like that, but we've been censored many times on the radio and different things. And so we've turned to, a lot of people have turned to social media in a lot of ways. We've got a huge social media presence, but we're still on radio and television because it's still a good medium as long as the radio station is cool. And, you know, why not? I mean, according to the Media Research Center, there's a report that they put out in 2018, social media is the communication form of the future. I mean, not just in the United States, but worldwide. And just Facebook and Twitter combined reach close to 2 billion people. And more than 2/3 of all Americans, about 68 to 70%, use Facebook. And YouTube really is pushing out TV as the most popular place to watch video. And Google is the #1 search engine in both the United States and around the world. So if you remember back early on, social media sites like Google, Facebook, YouTube, and others, they provided conservative programs with a voice to reach the masses, or at least it appeared that way. However, it was only a matter of time before the Big Brother leftist crowd realized the impact that the conservative voices were having in not letting them get their agenda across the finish line. And the censoring began with a vengeance. And I mean, right now, it's like a full court press. So what happened? Well, people started talking out against it. On December 6, 2019, Senator Ted Cruz. He appeared in the House Freedom Caucus podcast, and he discussed the pattern of political censorship and bias from big tech. These, like, the big social media guys, Google, the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all these. And throughout the podcast, Senator Cruz highlighted his concerns with big tech and its troubling pattern of political censorship because it's agenda-driven. They're not doing this just because they want something else to do. They've got an agenda, and they want to push that. So Senator Cruz said, I think, number one, that it is an enormous problem, censorship by big tech. He said, I think it is the single greatest threat to free speech because they're so influential in the earth right now. Everybody uses them. And he went on to say the single greatest threat to democracy. He said about 70% of Americans get their political news online. Think about where you get your news now. And yeah, a lot of people would sit there from 5 to 9 in the evening and watch CBS, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people that in our crowd now goes online because it's immediate. And I can get global news immediately, right at my fingertips. So it is the source for, Ted Cruz says it's the source for a supermajority of the public discourse. He said, but here's the part that's so insidious. It's invisible. Big tech has the ability, if they don't like what you're saying, simply to shadow ban you or just silently have whatever you say, whatever you post, disappear into the ether. And you can't tell. Nobody else can tell. He said, just nobody hears. Nobody will see your posts. Nobody will be able to watch your videos. Nobody will be able to listen to your live webcast and different things, your live streams. They just shadow ban you. They'll move you aside, make it so nobody should see you. Sign up for a video to watch. You subscribe to something, and then you never get it. Well, why? Well, somebody has shadow banned you, or ghost banned you is what it's called. So the social media influence, very influential in our lives, more than you might think. According to the Media Research Council's report, these social media, tech media companies are liberal from the ground up. And conservatives are right to be suspicious of them. The problem starts deep inside the liberal corporate cultures of the companies. Eric Schmidt, who recently stepped down from the head of both Google and YouTube, while he sat in that role as the head, he aided the Hillary Clinton campaign. And Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, he's been a strong proponent of the DREAM Act and of LGBT issues. So many of the employees reflect those biases. I mean, imagine, the boss is that way. What else are you going to do? Say, I don't agree with you politically. Okay, well, you may not have a job here very long. I mean, at Facebook, where users can create their own gender identities for their profile, employees donated a whopping 99 times more to Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign than to Donald Trump. Google employees donated 63 times more than Clinton, or more money to Clinton, and Twitter's employees gave Clinton 30 times more than they gave Trump. So the question is, how did this affect the 2016 election? Well, on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures with Marina Bartiromo, Senator Ted Cruz, again, he's in a war against this really right now. He told her, he said, so I'm very worried. She just showed a video, and he said, so I'm very worried. That testimony you just showed is Dr. Robert Epstein, and who is a very respected academic. He's a psychologist, and he used to be the editor of Psychology Today, the publication. And he did an empirical study on Google in 2016. And on the search results that came back, he was astonished by the results. He found that based on manipulated search outcomes or biased search outcomes, that Google in 2016 shifted because of their influence, they shifted 2.6 million votes towards Hillary Clinton. And Senator Ted Cruz went on to say, he said, now here is the interesting thing, Maria. He said, Dr. Epstein is not a Republican. He's a liberal Democrat. He voted for Hillary Clinton. So politically, he was happy to see more votes for Hillary, but he was horrified to see big tech have that kind of power. And he went on to testify what you just played. They showed a video of Dr. Epstein. He said, which is that they do the same thing. If they do the same thing they did in 2016, in 2020, which all indications are that they're going to, they could shift up to 15 million votes in the leftist direction. So he said it's terrifying that a handful of Silicon Valley billionaires that now control over $5 trillion of the American economy have no accountability and the ability to censor, to deceive, and to manipulate votes. Now, this is Senator Ted Cruz, everybody. And he said, I think that's the threat to our democracy we need to take very seriously. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just one example of the immense power social media giants have to influence public opinion on any given topic. And, or any publication or any publication on the web. I mean, for years, the Drudge Report was way up there in like the highest views on a news source on the web, things like that. Irvin, Baxter, and myself, our family, sitting around talking at the dinner table yesterday. We got together for Memorial Day, and I said, have you all recognized what's going on with the Drudge? And they all said, yeah, what in the world? I mean, it used to be pro-Trump and pro-conservative and this, that, and the other. And now it's like done an about face, it seems like. And it's like it's got an agenda driven behind it. And I can't put my finger on it. I've had people say that they sold it and everything else. I don't know what they've done. But it's not the same as it was back in 2015, 2016. It's like it's completely turned. And it's kind of attacking. And you can see what's going on. At one point, very conservative type voice. Now it's like almost the opposite. It's just, I don't understand. I've been going there for years. And I've watched this about face. And it's influential to a lot of people. Especially if you trust a news source. And then they start feeding you with stuff that's kind of the leftist lean. You know, and however, these are people, the people that are doing this, they are people with leftist ideologies. I mean, think about the people over, that when you lean left, their leftist ideologies and agendas such as pro-abortion, anti-gun, pro-LGBTQ agenda, pro-open border, pro-socialism, pro-regulation. I mean, look at all that President Trump has done to deregulate America. And I think like for every regulation they pass, they take like 5 or 6 or 7 off the books because there was just so much regulation on small businesses and different things. And then these leftists, they're pro-world government, and the list goes on and on. Well, when you have these huge social media sites or even television, the traditional ones, publications, they have so much influence that they're trying to silence the conservative voice, which would stand against that. Because the fact of the matter is that Jesus Christ said, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So when you've got people who are pushing this huge agenda, and you got people out here that are sharing the truth saying, no, human-induced global warming, which leads to climate change, is a hoax. Well, they've got to squelch that. They've called, well, they're a climate denier, and we need to stop them and silence them, or somebody who's against socialism, or somebody who is anti-abortion. They want to stop silence their voice. And that's what we feel going on in America. It's a tug of war right now. And Senator Ted Cruz, in a lot of ways, he's kind of leading the fight against this. I mean, he's had Senate hearings and all kinds of judicial hearings and things about this. So with this in mind, it's easy to see why the conservative voice has to be silenced. And it's the only thing, like I said, that's standing in the way of really a complete overhaul of the United States of America in an effort to move us away from our Judeo-Christian founding, which has made us so great to begin with. I mean, that's pretty much what separates us from most other nations on the planet, honestly, is this Judeo-Christian founding. But if you have a leftist ideology, you want to get away from that, because the Judeo-Christian foundation would be anti-abortion. The leftist ideology, pro-abortion. You see what I'm saying? The Judeo-Christian founding would be anti the LGBTQ mindset. The leftist ideology, pro the LGBTQ mindset. So you got, there is a war going on for the fabric that holds this nation together. It's the leftist social media, and it's the conservative voice. And there's a tug of war going on. And you feel it when you go into the news and you try to read news sources and different things, and you say, man, it's just like and President Trump's fighting it. And President Mike Pence, I mean, his wife was working at some kind of a Christian school, and they got all over her for that, saying, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. And so these guys are battling this every day. Well, we feel it as well as a Christian conservative media source. We're feeling the blowback from that. And I'm going to get into that in great detail when we come back from the break. But you can feel the leftist ideology, this agenda that's pushing. Look at Hollywood. Look at all the news sources, all these different things. So we're going to get into, when we get back from the break, because you've got to hear this, the leftist social media censorship. So I didn't realize it was so leftist. Well, you're going to see that when we get back. Very, very leftist, and they really are pushing. They'll say they don't push, but I'm going to show you how they are pushing, and then I'm going to show you how they're specifically censoring Endtime.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at Endtime will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
I have left a piece of my heart in Israel and her people. We would like to thank Endtime for doing such an awesome job with our Israel tour. We marvel at your team keeping the time schedule, keeping everyone comfortable, the wonderful driver, the brilliant guide, the entire tour program, good hotel choices, and stellar food. We had the privilege to rub shoulders with Pastor Baxter, listen to his current teachings, and had some interesting questions answered so eloquently. He is wonderful. Helene from Australia.
Experience the Holy Land in the most amazing way. Join Irvin and Judy Baxter for our upcoming Israel tour. For more information, go to endtime.com or call 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
You say, oh, come on, Dave. I mean, is it really that bad? Is it really that a leftist social media censorship? Well, according to the Washington Times, back in 2017, the nonprofit Lincoln Network conducted a survey of tech workers in Silicon Valley, and including those employed at Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. Well, one libertarian, he responded to the this survey that they did, and he said He said there were many groups devoted to identity politics in his company. He did not list his company. And he said, and every one of them was leftist. He said, if you're not part of the liberal Democrat crowd, you're an outsider. And the Washington Times article continued by saying that the group think in these businesses affects everything that big tech does. Every decision it makes, every program that it releases. As a former Google engineer noted, Google's algorithms reflect the assumptions and biases to their creators. It's the way they establish an algorithm would be how they decide what you're going to see. Hey, we've got this keyword and this, that, and the other, and they'll flag things. Well, the discussion about these tech platforms and political bias often, and understandably, center on what is or isn't allowed on Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember, it's agenda-driven. But the other half of the picture is what is and isn't prioritized on a platform. So broadly speaking, tech companies censor users and content in two ways. The first, which we'll call hard censorship, is pretty straightforward. They delete content and suspend users. I mean, it's just boom, cut them off. The second method we'll say is soft censorship, and that involves tech companies making content harder to find. Hard censorship would be like tearing down a roadside billboard. Boom, done. Soft censorship, it would be like making the billboard difficult to see by putting up other billboards in front of it. So soft censorship by tech companies can be just as effective as hard censorship. Studies show that people rarely click past the first page of Google or YouTube results. Even fewer click past the second or third page. So pushing a link off the first page of Google or the first two or three of Google is nearly the same as removing it from Google results altogether. It's called like shadow banning and ghost banning, things like that. And the same is true with your Facebook, Twitter feeds. These companies don't have to delete the content to make sure that you don't see it. Since 2016, every major tech company, Facebook, Google, YouTube, and Twitter, have been busy retooling their algorithms or news feeds or monetization standards in ways that benefit liberals and sideline conservatives. And Endtime Ministries has not been exempted from this. These big tech players, they also are partners with left-wing groups, such as the Southern Poverty Law Center. And what they do is they flag these supposedly problematic content or conservative, and the group falsely labels individual conservatives as extremists and conservative organizations as hate groups, and then promote restrictive content policies against alleged hate speech. And of course, nobody wants hate speech on their right. That's what Mark Zuckerberg said. Well, it determines how they define hate speech. If it goes against their ideologies, that's hate speech. So conservative views have been and are being labeled as hate speech or harmful to the leftist ideologues in the social media community, which in turn gets them censored. So I wanted to get kind of detailed into Endtime Ministries censorship. Many of you are, you're interested in that because we absolutely have to have the ability to preach the truth and to instruct in Bible prophecy all the way throughout the end time. So really, as a biblically based conservative broadcasting entity, Endtime Ministries has in no way been exempted from this. Believe me, it's been happening for years now. Censorship began with traditional media, radio. We'd have radio stations cut us because of what they considered a sensitive topic, LGBTQ or abortion, stuff like that. We've had programs cut off at the 30-minute mark. It was an hour program. We've had them cut them off at the 30-minute mark and go dead air for 30 minutes and come back on at the top of the hour. We've had that happen to us. And We've now moved, now that we moved into the tech space, that hasn't changed at all. Believe me, it's got actually worse. So what happened? Well, back in early 2015, we had an SEO specialist and a data analyst that was working for Endtime. He began to warn Endtime Ministries that we would experience censorship due to the biblical worldviews that we share. They were offensive to some people, and other topics, like I said, the LGBTQ, abortion, different things. We talk about it. It's in the Bible. We're going to talk about it. So this information was based on that he said, hey, you guys are fixing to get censored. And the information was based on releases that were issued by Facebook and Google about their upcoming updates. And he knew, he said, look, I understand because of their verbiage that the new algorithms that they've got coming out are going to target Endtime Ministries. They were going to try to silence our conservative message. And he saw it before. This was early 2015, and he warned us. Well, consequently, he basically guaranteed that the number of people that we reach would drop. The number of views, people that came to us from other sites, all different things. But he wasn't exactly sure of the magnitude. Well, sadly, his assertions proved to be very true. Remember, that was early 2015. In November of 2015, we experienced a drop in Facebook reach by 50%. Now, we were way up in the millions. We dropped 50% from the previous month, everybody, and a 32% drop in our monthly average for the year because they changed their algorithms, the way what people see. And like I said, they've done this to many conservatives, and their messages they're getting out. And that's why a lot of them are screening. Dennis Prager from YouTube actually took them to court. And he just recently lost that battle in court. But let me continue on with Endtime, because I could talk about all of them, Ben Shapiro and all these guys. But in December of 2015, historically our busiest month of the year was much like November, and we dropped many views, and I mean by the thousands and sometimes millions. In 2016, that trend continued, and we watched our monthly average of people drop 42% from 2015. So we were dropping millions. And you say, well, how are they censoring Endtime? So I'm going to get detailed into this. I want you to understand what's going on. Facebook. Let's start with Facebook, then I'll go to YouTube, and then we'll go to Google. Facebook makes it difficult to pinpoint much of the censorship to specific instances. They've developed these algorithms to determine exactly what you, the subscriber, sees. If our Endtime Ministries content doesn't comply with Facebook's ideological standard, the algorithms deboost the content, and it limits its distribution and appearance in news feeds. Like I said, it's called shadow banning or ghost banning. And as you probably guessed, this stealth censorship was specifically aimed at conservatives. And, you know, Facebook, it appears to have deliberately tailored its algorithms to recognize the syntax or the style popular among conservatives in order to deboost their content. And they've targeted categories of people like religious groups and specific accounts, i.e. Endtime and many others. And we've actually, think about this, we've actually paid to run a Facebook ad to promote a post and have been rejected for the content in the post. No, you can't run an ad. Endtime Ministries has had innumerable posts given limited exposure because it may be considered offensive or it violates Facebook's fluid policies. And one example, now listen at this. One example that I can remember was an ad promoting an article titled, Donald Trump, His Presidential Inauguration. And just like the title says, the article simply highlighted, Irvin Baxter did a video on President Trump's inauguration. That's it. But for an unexplained reason, this violated Facebook's policy, and when we inquired about it, Facebook refused to provide an explanation. And the most prevalent censorship reports that I can reference are the many, many, many testimonies that we've received from our online audience. I mean, Endtime has received reports that our posts no longer appear in our Facebook followers' timelines. They can't locate our accounts when searching for them. And even though they've set up notifications for accounts, they're no longer notified of our posts or our live streamed videos. Now, that's just Facebook, everybody. And you wonder, when they started shadow banning us and doing different things, where our views just dropped, right? The bottom dropped out of it. And we've really had to work very, very hard to keep the ones that we have. Even though people wanted to be a part of it, Facebook was kind of just in the background working these algorithms to where, when it comes to conservative content, they were shadow banning. Well, then you come to YouTube. And just like Facebook, YouTube has set up these algorithms to regulate what you see. And the process is simple. The algorithms scan YouTube content, and then they'll flag the videos not in alignment with the YouTube standards. And then a human will then monitor the video to determine if that content is approved according to YouTube for distribution across the platform. If not, the creator is incentivized, I say quote unquote incentivized, to alter the content up to YouTube's standard. YouTube does not call this censorship, obviously, but we do. And every other conservative has. That's what Dennis Prager was doing. He actually sued YouTube for this very reason. And the main two ways that YouTube incentivizes or censors Endtime Ministries is by demonetizing and placing our videos on the restricted list. Well, Endtime has the potential to make revenue from our YouTube videos. And when they place ads on our posts, we get paid based on whether or not people watch those ads. And if someone clicks, then you get paid more. So when a video is demonetized, YouTube will place the ad on the post, but we don't get paid. Many times this will occur even if we have paid for the ad, they demonetize it because of the content that's in there. And according to YouTube, they actually say you'll find examples of content not suitable for ads and will result in a limited or no ads monetization state. And, you know, I can give you a list of the main topics that there are not advisor friendly. I mean, it's inappropriate language, violence, adult content, harmful or dangerous acts, hateful content, incendiary or demeaning, recreational drugs and drug-related content, tobacco-related content, firearms-related content, and controversial and sensitive issues, and adult-themed and family content.
Does the book of Revelation frighten you? Do its symbols confuse you? For centuries, the book of Revelation has been misunderstood and misinterpreted. In Revelation, the unveiling of Jesus Christ, Volume 1, Irvin Baxter unlocks the mystery of the book of Revelation with in-depth analysis and commentary like you've never heard before. This 10-part definitive DVD series and 268-page comprehensive commentary book covers the first 12 chapters of the book of Revelation, featuring on-location photography, classic artwork, and symbolic illustrations. You'll walk away with complete understanding and peace about the events happening during the final years on Earth. These comprehensive study tools, available for $299, will deepen your biblical understanding as you dig into the original intent of the book, answering the mysterious prophecies and symbols of the book of Revelation. Don't miss this special offer. Call now, 1-800-END-TIME, or go to endtime.com to order. Call or go online now to get this comprehensive Bible study.
So you can be censored by YouTube for inappropriate language, violence, adult content, drug-related things, adult themes, and family content. Okay? So a small list of the hundreds of end-time videos that have been demonetized by YouTube is, these are the titles of the videos. Could the coronavirus be the judgments of God? That was demonetized. The Arab Spring, that was demonetized. Trump and Syria, we did a video on that. They demonetized that. Destroying Christian America, they demonetized that. And silencing the truth in America, they demonetized that. Now, this is kind of bewildering, to say the least, because YouTube will demonetize our video, silencing the truth in America, but they will allow, and they tell you this, they allow a music video to show content which clearly violates their standards. YouTube actually states that this states it in their advertiser-friendly content guidelines. They give you all the reasons why they would demonetize a video, but then they say, please note that context is very important. Artistic content, such as music videos, may contain elements such as inappropriate language, references to soft drug usage, or non-explicit sexual themes, and still be suitable for advertising. So in a music video, you can have all that stuff, and it's okay, but we can do one silencing the truth in America, and they demonetize that. You see the censorship. They say it's not censorship, but you can kind of see what's really going on here. And now you can understand how YouTube's censorship, it's agenda-driven. I mean, it's not so much the material that you present, but it's the context in which you present it. And you can talk about abortion, but if you say it's wrong, censored. And when YouTube places our videos on the restricted list, that content is not available to anyone who has the restricted mode turned on. And that can be a church, a library, a Christian school, a hospital, anyone where their administrator or that person has the restricted mode turned on. They wouldn't be able to find silencing the truth in America, but they could watch a music video with all kinds of debauchery in it. And according to YouTube, videos containing potentially adult content will not be shown to viewers who have restricted mode on. And that includes drugs, alcohol, sexual situations, violence, mature subjects, profane and mature language, and incendiary or demeaning content. So, yes, we do have several videos on the restricted list. Some of the titles to that would be abortion versus coronavirus, gun control and globalism, ISIS and Bible prophecy, will Trump reverse the damage, and then 2 U.S. mass shootings. Those are on the restricted list. And like I said, earlier this year, Dennis Prager of Prager University, he lost his court battle because he sued YouTube for exactly what they're doing to Endtime Ministries. And then Google, the largest search engine on the planet. And just like Facebook, Endtime's, our big surge with Google came in mid to late 2015. Our highest month ever for reach. And when I say reach, I mean Endtime website visitors from Google searches. They would go search Armageddon or whatever and end up at Endtime. We were in the, I don't know how many millions. It was crazy. It was way up in there, 3 or 4 million. And I mean, I think it was like per month. But that was September of 2015. This was followed by an enormous nosedive in those views. From September to October, our views dropped from 3.6 million to 2.2 million. In November, it dropped another 600,000. In December, we dropped another 200,000 for a total of 2.2 million viewers in 3 months. Because what they started doing is pushing our stuff back from the first page. Some of it's back 20 pages or further. I mean, you remember the warning from that I told you about our SEO specialist, about the future updates and the change in the algorithms. Something Google changed in their algorithms caused Endtime Ministries views to plummet. And with Google, you guys know this, success or failure hinges on the placement of your content within their site. So as I was researching this, I did a quick Google search for keywords. Armageddon, rapture, the second coming, the book of Revelation, and just the word prophecy. I mean, these are topics that Endtime Ministries specializes in every day. And guess what? For all of those, I went back at least 20 pages, and besides our paid ads, Endtime Ministries was not mentioned once. And I even searched for the term end with a space and then time. And other than our paid ad that we had on there, Endtime was 3 pages back. Only when I searched Endtime together, E-N-D-T-I-M-E, were we on the first page. And Endtime Ministries, folks, has posted high-quality articles, audio and video content for years on the internet. However, it appears because we did not align with the leftist ideologies of Silicon Valley, Endtime, along with a plethora of other conservative media outlets, is increasingly being censored across major social media platforms. And guess what? Something had to change. And I think you know what the solution is. You know, with so many of our Facebook posts shadow banned, YouTube videos restricted, Google searches being buried, I mean, many of these who we would normally be in the first 1 or 2 pages, they're way past the 20-page mark on Google. Well, Endtime, we had to find another way to deliver uncensored content all the way throughout the end time. Well, we solved this massive problem by creating the End of the Age Plus website. It's located at watch.endtime.com. We now have close to 3,000 people subscribed to that. And End of the Age Plus, it allows Endtime the ability to post and stream all of our content, and yes, including the restricted videos, without censorship. Now, these do not have anything that your kids could not sit down and watch. They're restricted because they go against, again, the leftist ideology of Silicon Valley. And the End of the Age Plus website includes exclusive content, all access to all archived End of the Age radio broadcast, the new Revelation commentary series, electronic subscription Endtime magazine. That's automatic when you subscribe. The Understanding the End Time DVD series, the complete Endtime University DVD set, and much more. We even have a section devoted to the restricted videos. And you can also watch it anywhere with no cable subscription. You can go, you can enjoy it on your favorite devices: iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. And we're adding new shows and content every day. And you'll experience it all on the fastest, most cutting-edge media platform on the internet. Check it out. It's awesome. And you can watch and read on the go or get the full experience on your TV at home. And it can also be viewed on 3 devices at once in your home. Now, we're currently offering a 14-day trial. I asked these guys, I'm like, is that ongoing? And for now, it's a 14-day trial. Once that ends, you can continue accessing the site for $12.99 a month or $132 per year. So just go to watch.endtime.com to subscribe, and you can start streaming this End of the Age Plus today. It will allow us to bypass once you know, if you get on there and you want the content, we could use this throughout the end time when they really start. I mean, we can really feel the crunch now. You can see how much of our views have went down on. We had a huge millions and millions of people a month on our social media presence. It took a nosedive back in 2015, and we've been working to keep our nose above water on social media since then. I mean, I think on Facebook, when we do, a lot of you guys are watching me on a live stream. We had 200,000 people that were on there joined, wanting to do that, and we have like 500 or 600 people a day watching us because they've shadow banned us and hit us and this, that, and the other. I mean, it's been crazy. So why is this so important to us, everyone? Well, the Great Commission. I mean, the mission of End Time Ministries is to preach the gospel of the kingdom to every person on the earth, because we're currently living in the end time. And therefore, End Time Ministries must retain the ability to proclaim the gospel and educate people on the prophecies of the Bible throughout the end time. I mean, the Bible says, they that understand among the people shall instruct many. I mean, there are some who would like to silence us. Conservative voices, they're being silenced in publications, college campuses. Ben Shapiro is a perfect example. Television, radio broadcast, and on the largest speaking platform on the planet Earth, the internet. So we've got to resist these efforts in our society, and many are resisting them. I mean, even President Trump lately has talked about, hey, we need to see what's going on with this censorship because we need freedom of speech. Anybody who realizes the importance of the First Amendment and our freedom of speech, not only about church and your worship and religion and things like that, the importance of the entire First Amendment. There are people who would love to cut that out of our Constitution. There's people that would love to do it with our entire Constitution. And so censorship will be of utmost importance really to the Antichrist. Think about it. And his world governing system in the end time. And the Antichrist and his world governing system will agree with much of the leftist ideologies that are propagated today. I mean, his is going to be a message of deception, the Antichrist. Revelation 16, 13 through 14 says, "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, Satan, out of the mouth of the beast, the Antichrist, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, the future pope at that time. For they are spirits of devils." So, how do we as Christian conservatives combat that? We speak the truth. In the face of all adversity, in the face of all the peer pressure, the censorship, we speak the truth. You never go wrong by doing what's right. Jesus said, "And you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." If you believe the leftist ideology and everything else, they'll squelch this and they'll be able to push their ideology over on you and you won't even know what hit you. But if you know the truth, you can say, wait a minute. No, that's human-induced global warming does not lead to climate change. And you've got the truth. You know the truth. If you don't have conservative truth-teaching programs throughout the end time, all is going to be lost, folks. Jesus said, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We've got to proclaim the gospel, and we've got to educate people on the prophecies of the Bible all throughout the end time. You say, well, will there be those throughout the end time that are proclaiming the truth? Absolutely. Jesus said this gospel, this is what? Matthew 24, 14. "This gospel in the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all nations, then shall the end come." We have to retain our conservative voice, everybody, our Christian conservative voice. Even during the time of the Antichrist, Daniel knew that there would be those who would cave to worldly pressures. But there would be those that would be strong and teach others. The Bible says, "And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall the Antichrist corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits, and they that understand among the people shall instruct many." Folks, we can't let anything silence our Christian conservative voice because we want to keep America on that straight and narrow pathway all throughout the end time.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook